Imagine a land bathed in the emerald light of a rising sun, a realm woven not only with the threads of the purest reverie, but with the very wisdom of the stars. Long before history etched its first chronicles in stone or papyrus, long before our annals began to count the cycles of empires and oblivion, there existed an echo, a primordial vibration, a civilization whose name resonates on the winds of time like a forgotten song: Lemuria. Today, Soul Seeker, you who have perhaps felt that inner call toward the mysteries of our origins, we unveil together not just the fragments of a continent said to be lost in the mists of the ocean, but the reflection of a longing that beats, persistent and profound, in the very heart of humanity. A longing for original purity, for untainted wisdom, for those golden pasts where human beings lived in an exquisite symphony with existence. This is not merely a chronicle of bygone times. It is an invitation to awaken something sacred that lies dormant in the deepest part of your being. Because the idea of Lemuria, also known as Mu, the motherland, like a starseed carried on cosmic currents, has traveled through the eons, transforming itself. From a scientific hypothesis whispered in 19th century salons to explain the mysteries of life on our planet, it has blossomed into a cornerstone, a beacon of hope within the vast temple of esoteric tradition and spiritual seeking. Are these lost continents mere fantasies, escapes from a reality often too harsh? Or are they perhaps symbolic spaces where our collective soul projects its deepest thirst for meaning, its nostalgia for an ancestral home it feels with an inexplicable certainty to have once known? Today, I invite you on a journey to that realm of remembrance, a journey that could awaken ancestral memories in your own heart. This is a story that perhaps your soul already knows. The visions we will share about this civilization come from deep explorations of the spirit, from attentive listening to forgotten traditions, and from perspectives that, while not always aligning with the conventional view, converge astonishingly on themes of high spiritual development, sublime harmony with nature, and an understanding of subtle energies that we are only just beginning to glimpse today. This convergence of visions coming from diverse paths whispers to us the possibility of an underlying truth perceived through multiple veils. Where did this dreamland flourish? Under which skies did it unfold its magnificence? Traditions and visions often place it in the vast Pacific Ocean, a realm of glittering islands and archipelagos that once stretched like a string of pearls across the deep blue. Some echoes also remember it in the Indian Ocean, joining continents now separated. But beyond a precise geography, the idea of Lemuria, its spiritual essence, is what truly endures, more potent than any coordinate on a map. It is a geography of the soul, an inner landscape that calls us to remember. And when did Lemuria dance beneath the sun and stars? The chronologies proposed by those who have explored its mysteries vary, like echoes arriving from different depths of time, but all, without exception, point to an antiquity that stirs the imagination and challenges our linear understanding of history. It is spoken of as the original homeland of humanity, the true birthplace of civilized beings, with an existence that could date back hundreds of thousands, even millions of years, to eras when the Earth itself was young and vibrant. Imagine for a moment the vastness of that perspective. The deepest narratives tell us that Lemuria was no accident of evolution. Perhaps 200,000 years ago, or even earlier, beings of a very high consciousness, sometimes called the Alethir, arrived on our young planet with a sacred mission to help raise the Earth's vibration, awaken its luminous potential, and encode its waters, the mirror of life, with the very essence of cosmic consciousness. And they chose Lemuria, or Mu, as their home, as the crucible where this great work of love would be carried out. Their purpose was to be a beacon of light and knowledge for a world in its infancy. Other traditions whisper that these first Lemurians, and perhaps also their Atlantean brothers of the primeval eras, were travelers from distant stars, ancient souls who sought refuge on Earth, fleeing conflicts in other galaxies, assuming here the sacred duty of being guardians of this blue planet. It is said that a loving, angelic presence, an emanation of the Source itself, has accompanied the Earth from the beginning of time, weaving a cosmic connection with our spiritual development, a guidance that found fertile ground to flourish in Lemuria. And now, traveler of consciousness, let us delve into the beating heart of this civilization. What was life like in this ancestral paradise? The descriptions that have come down to us, like petals of a flower of light, consistently paint a picture of utopia, of a society woven with the threads of peace, equality, and a profound harmony with the universe. A reflection, perhaps, of that perennial longing we all carry within for an ideal world.
Imagine a society where war was an unknown word, a concept alien to the heart, where conflicts dissolved in understanding and love, and where every being worked joyfully for the common good in an exquisite and rare symphony of cooperation. It is spoken of as a place of absolute equality, where every task was valued not for its prestige or material reward, but for its contribution to the collective well-being. Some sources suggest a social structure where the feminine was deeply honored, a matriarchy of wisdom, or a perfect balance where the voice of women, bearers of intuition and connection to the cycles of life, resonated with equal authority and respect in the community councils. The divine feminine was the matrix of creation, and this reverence was reflected in every aspect of life. A council of elders, men and women of proven wisdom and pure heart, offered their guidance and counsel, but did not impose their jurisdiction, for the true direction emanated from a deeper source, from a collective connection. Perhaps the most mysterious and profound aspect of their social structure was the group mind. Individuality, as we know it today, with its barriers and its emphasis on separation, was not the focus. There existed instead a collective consciousness, a unity where the joy of one was the joy of all, and the challenge of one was felt and supported by the entire community, like a single organism of love. Children did not belong to individual parents in a possessive sense. They were the sons and daughters of the entire community, nurtured, loved, and guided by every member, each contributing their unique gifts to the sacred task of raising them. This concept of marriage or family, with its often exclusive ties, did not exist in the way we know it today. No one owned anything in the material sense. The Earth's resources were considered a divine gift to be shared by all with joy and gratitude. This group mind, far from being a lack of individual development, is seen by many as a higher state of consciousness, a spiritual achievement of unity that contrasts deeply with the often isolating individualism of our era. Daily life unfolded in a sweet and harmonious synchrony with the sacred cycles of nature. Their homes, built with organic materials like living woods, crystals, and plant fibers, were not mere shelters, but living temples, energetically aligned with the environment, breathing in unison with the earth. And although they lived in profound simplicity, they also erected magnificent cities, if we can call them that, with great temples and palaces of an ethereal beauty, the first the world had ever known. Works of art we can barely dream of today, where light and sound danced in perfect harmony.
They enjoyed a generous abundance. The bountiful seas and fertile fields, bathed by a benevolent sun, provided them with everything they needed with ease, allowing them to dedicate most of their time and energy to cultivating the spirit, developing the arts, and exploring the deep mysteries of inner and outer knowledge. It was they, it is said, who gave the world writing, not as a mere system of accounting, but as a sacred way of capturing the wisdom of the stars and the secrets of the soul. They gave birth to religion, understood in its purest sense as the reunion with the divine. They charted the paths of navigation, guided by the stars, read the messages of the cosmos in the dance of astrology, developed a medicine that healed the body, mind, and spirit as an inseparable unit, and wove music with the very harmonies of the universe, creating sounds that could elevate, heal, and transform. Their cultural influences, like seeds of light carried on invisible winds, are still perceived today in the ancestral totems of ancient cultures, in the sacred geometry of forgotten temples, in the enigmatic statues that guard secrets on remote islands. But the true heart of Lemuria, its incandescent core, its undying essence, was its profound, omnipresent, and radiant spirituality. It was not an isolated aspect of life, reserved for special moments or places, but the very fabric of their existence, the breath that animated every facet of their development. The Lemurians possessed an innate, cellular understanding of their sacred place in the cosmos, an intimate and vibrant connection with the great mystery that envelops all. They were, in essence, the spark of divine consciousness embodied on earth, rooted not in the surface of personality, but in the beginnings at the soul level, in the memory of their stellar origin. Their primary focus, the compass that guided their each choice, was spiritual development and the pursuit of an absolute and joyful harmony with nature, a path of cooperation, love, and respect for all life. This contrasts deeply with the pursuits oriented toward control, domination, and exploitation that would, unfortunately, later characterize other great civilizations. Water, for them, was a supremely sacred element, a liquid mirror of the cosmos, a conduit of divine energies. You will recall it is said that those primeval beings, the Alethir, came to encode the water of our planet, to imbue it with the vibration of higher consciousness. The perennial philosophies, those eternal truths that have nurtured humanity over millennia, find, according to many, their purest origin in the fertile spiritual soil of Lemurian culture. Lemuria, therefore, was not just a physical place. Soul who explores these ideas, it was a state of being, a spiritual model for humanity, a luminous dream of what we can become. From the earliest childhood, education focused on spiritual development and direct connection with the universe. Children learned to listen to the whispers of the wind, to read the wisdom in the twinkle of the stars, to feel the rhythmic pulse of the earth beneath their feet. Community rituals and ceremonies were essential, not as empty dogmas, but as powerful acts of social cohesion, energetic alignment, and conscious connection with cosmic forces. Imagine collective meditations under a star-studded sky, where thousands of hearts beat as one. Joyful celebrations of natural cycles, honoring the solstices and equinoxes. Sacred dances that were prayers in motion, weaving the energy of heaven and earth. There are legends that speak of Lemurians in places of great power, like the sacred Mount Shasta, performing nocturnal ceremonies in honor of the universal light, the source of all life. And herein lies one of their most remarkable and transformative abilities. They were predominantly telepathic beings. Communication flowed from mind to mind, from heart to heart, like a crystalline stream, allowing for deep understanding, instant empathy, and an unbreakable social unity. Can you imagine a world without misunderstandings, where pure intention is transmitted directly, where the truth of another is felt without filters? Their medicine was truly holistic, a sublime fusion of intuitive spiritual knowledge and a scientific understanding of natural laws. They used subtle energy, the vibrations of sound and color, the power of crystals, and the wisdom of medicinal plants. But above all, they understood that true healing emanates from the inner balance of the soul, from inner harmony. And in this garden of wisdom, the feminine energy played a crucial and revered role. It is said that the women in Lemuria, due to their intrinsic connection with intuition and the cycles of life, were instructed in fundamental spiritual truths by beings of light, often called the Pleiadian Star Mothers, an ancestral wisdom that, believe it or not, still resides, vibrant and accessible, in our Akashic record, that etheric library containing the entire history of the soul, all the experiences of the universe. This idea is fundamental because it means that Lemurian experiences and teachings have not been lost forever. They are stored in the Akasha, and each of us, if we choose to, with an open heart and intention, can access them. The notion that we may have had past lives in Lemuria, that its memories may be gently awakening within us, allows for a personal and experiential connection with this ancient past, transforming it from a distant legend into a living, pulsating part of our being. What then was the sacred mission of this extraordinary civilization? To raise the vibration of planet Earth, which in its dawn was much denser, to encode its waters with the consciousness of unity, to serve as a beacon of light and knowledge in a young and evolving world. Mu and Lemuria had specific roles as guides and protectors of the planetary energy portals, those vortexes that connect the Earth to higher dimensions and the vast cosmos. But it is vital to understand, as some contemporary wisdom teaches us, that Lemuria was not a civilization of already perfected beings. It was, rather, the first spiritual classroom of humanity, the divine spark that set our souls on their long and fascinating evolutionary journey. Humanity, therefore, is not simply destined to return to an idealized Lemurian past, but to surpass it, to build upon that sacred foundation an even more expanded and integrated consciousness. The Lemurian wisdom, which seemed to be lost on the surface of history, is now being remembered, revived by many, which speaks to a cyclical and hopeful vision of spiritual evolution, where every apparent end is, in fact, the prelude to a new and more glorious dawn. The Lemurians, these dreamlike beings, were distinguished not only by their elevated spirituality, but also by their remarkable psychic characteristics and a level of knowledge and technology that, in many respects, went far beyond what our conventional ancient civilizations even imagined. However, and this is crucial to understanding their essence, their technology was not a cold, separate force from life, as ours often is. Instead, it was intrinsically linked to their spiritual principles and a deep understanding of the living, conscious energies of nature. They were, as we have surmised, highly advanced and spiritually evolved beings. Telepathic communication was a common skill, almost as natural as breathing, allowing for a unity of thought and feeling, and an understanding that would seem miraculous to us today. Some legends, especially those that have endured in places of power, like the sacred Mount Shasta, describe them as beings of imposing stature, tall and graceful, with surprising agility. Their heads and foreheads, it is said, were broader, perhaps indicating greater brain capacity, or more likely, a more direct and active connection to the higher realms of consciousness through a fully functional pineal gland. They are often visualized wearing robes of a radiant white or iridescent colors, a symbol of their purity of intention and spiritual connection. And their technology, here we enter a realm of wonders that challenges our conventional imagination. Imagine a technology that does not seek to dominate nature, but to dance with it in perfect harmony, an astonishing mastery of subtle energies, of the vibrational principles that underlie all creation. It was not a technology of gears and combustion that pollutes and destroys, but a technology of the spirit, where material advancement and spiritual wisdom were not opposing forces, but the two inseparable wings of the same bird of conscious evolution.
Visualize the use of crystal energy. Magnificent crystals of a purity and size unknown today, not as mere ornaments, but as powerful, living tools for storing, amplifying, and channeling cosmic energy. These crystals were fundamental in their healing technologies, their systems of interdimensional communication, and even in generating light and power for their communities. They knew and applied the technology of resonance, They understood that everything in the universe is vibration, is music, and they learned to use specific frequencies for construction, moving immense blocks of stone as if they were feathers, simply with the power of sound and intention. And for healing, stimulating the regeneration of tissues and organs with precise sound and light waves, restoring the vibrational harmony of the being. They mastered solar energy in ways we are only beginning to glimpse, capturing and storing sunlight as an inexhaustible, clean and sustainable source, living in perfect harmony with the energy cycles of their star, which they considered a conscious being. They practiced the encoding of water, as we have already mentioned, imbuing this sacred element with specific energies and frequencies for healing the physical and etheric body, and for the exuberant flourishing of their crops, creating an agriculture of vibrant and healthy abundance without the need for chemical artifices. They built, it is said, ships of light. Yes, etheric or semi-physical vehicles capable of traveling not only through three-dimensional space, but also through the dimensions, using pure light, zero-point energy, and consciousness as propulsion. With these ships, they maintained contact with other benevolent star civilizations, participating in a galactic exchange of wisdom and love. Sacred geometry was the basis of all their creation, the language with which they dialogued with the universe. They applied it in all their constructions and technologies, not for mere aesthetics, though the result was always of a breathtaking beauty, but because they understood that certain forms and proportions are in direct resonance with the fundamental creative forces of the cosmos, allowing for optimal energetic alignment and astonishing efficiency. They established and maintained planetary energy grids, an invisible but powerful mesh of energetic points and lines of force that connected the entire globe, used for transferring vital energy, for instant communication over long distances, and crucially, for maintaining the energetic balance and vibrational health of the planet itself. There is even talk of their ability to influence the weather, not capriciously or for their own benefit, but always to maintain the balance and harmony of ecosystems, and whispers of even more astonishing abilities, like mastery of anti-gravity and a deep understanding of genetics, far beyond the superficial manipulation we know today.
This was a soft technology, a technology of consciousness that manipulated subtle energies and information, in deep contrast to the hard technology based on brute force and exploitation that often characterizes our era. Their mastery of such diverse fields through unifying principles like sacred geometry and resonance suggests a holistic and interconnected understanding of the universe, a vision that our modern science, often so fragmented, is only beginning to rediscover at its most audacious frontiers. Lemuria, this beacon of wisdom, did not exist in splendid isolation. Like a bright star in a vast firmament, it interacted with other contemporary cultures and civilizations, and none of these interactions was as significant nor as charged with destiny and learning for the future as its complex relationship with the equally legendary Atlantis. According to esoteric chronicles, Lemuria and Atlantis were, in their origins, two sister civilizations, both highly advanced,
that initially coexisted in a spirit of cooperation and mutual respect. There was a time of fruitful contact, of exchanging knowledge and technologies, where the Atlanteans even adopted many of the spiritual practices and subtle technologies of the Lemurians. However, with the inexorable passage of time, like two rivers that originate from the same mountain but take divergent courses to the sea, fundamental philosophical differences arose. The Lemurians, as we have explored, maintained their focus on spirituality, on harmony with nature, on the inner development of the being. The Atlanteans, on the other hand, or at least an increasingly influential faction among them, began to progressively orient themselves toward external control, toward power through an increasingly materialistic technology, and toward the manipulation of natural forces for their own ends, sometimes forgetting the wisdom of the heart and the consequences of their actions. These philosophical differences, like seeds of discord sown in a fertile field, eventually led to tensions, to deep disagreements, and tragically, to conflicts that, according to some narratives, contributed to the fall of both great civilizations. It is said that the wise Lemurians, with their deep vision, warned their Atlantean brothers about the inherent danger in using certain energies for warlike purposes, about the risks of manipulating the very structure of life through genetic experiments on the human race, and about the development of weapons of unimaginable destructive power. But the warnings, like leaves swept away by a wind of ambition and pride, were often not heeded. The fascination with material power and knowledge without the guidance of wisdom can be a very seductive and dangerous siren's call.
And so, it is narrated that a war of great dimensions, a terrible conflagration that used forces that shook the very foundations of the planet, broke out between these two once sister civilizations, a war that ultimately contributed to the ruin of both. This relationship, which evolves from cooperation to confrontation due to divergent philosophies, serves as a powerful and eternal archetypal narrative, a mirror that reflects the enduring human debates about the true meaning of progress, the ethics in the application of technology, and the delicate and always necessary balance between spiritual wisdom and material power. Nevertheless, not all of Lemuria's interactions were somber. It is insistently stated that the Lemurians established peaceful and constructive relationships with other advanced civilizations of their time, both terrestrial and from other worlds, freely sharing their knowledge and technologies to benefit humanity as a whole, thus expanding their benevolent influence. Their ships of light, which we have already spoken of, facilitated this interplanetary and intercultural contact. These interactions are consistently presented as beneficial and enriching, positioning Lemuria as an ideal for intercultural relations based on generosity and brotherhood, in sharp contrast to the historical patterns of conquest and exploitation that have so marked our species. As guides and protectors of the planetary portals, their primary objective was to be a beacon of light and knowledge for the entire world, an anchor of spiritual stability on a planet in full and often turbulent evolution. But even the most beautiful dreams, the most radiant golden ages, can face the dawn of a harsh reality on the physical plane.
The disappearance of Lemuria is a central theme in its vast mythology, an echo of loss and transformation that resonates through the millennia in the cellular memory of humanity. Its end was not a simple fading into the mists of time, but a cataclysmic event, or a series of them, attributed to a complex combination of furious natural forces and, in some versions, to the ravages of conflict and the misuse of power. The oral traditions of the peoples of Polynesia, whose ancestors are said to come from a submerged motherland, speak with reverent fear of a mighty warrior wave, a tsunami of unimaginable proportions that swept the land, engulfing islands and transforming the face of the planet. Other sources indicate that Lemuria did not suffer a single catastrophe, but a prolonged series of natural disasters that stretched over many thousands of years before the main continent finally disappeared beneath the waters. The original scientific theory that postulated it suggested a sinking due to intense volcanic activity, and there are accounts of explosions so massive that they formed new land masses where the Lemurian paradise once extended.
And as we have heard, the conflict with Atlantis is also often cited as a contributing factor, or even as the main cause of the destruction of both civilizations. Arrogance, the misuse of power, disconnection from the sacred laws of life can unleash forces that not even the most advanced civilizations can control. Finally, the glorious landmass of Lemuria, with its cities of light and its temples of wisdom, submerged beneath the ocean, becoming the lost continent that we remember today with a mixture of wonder and melancholy. The end came. However, and this however is a door to hope. The physical destruction of Lemuria did not mean the end of its influence, nor the total silence of its eternal song. For true wisdom, like divine energy, is not destroyed. It only transforms, disseminates, finding new channels. It is said that before the great cataclysm, many Lemurians, foreseeing the disaster, took wise measures to preserve their knowledge and their lineage. Some survivors, guided by the light of their intuition, made their way to other parts of the world, carrying with them the seeds of their elevated culture. They incorporated their scientific skills and deep mystical knowledge into the existing cultures of Asia, Polynesia, and the Americas, silently enriching the tapestry of human civilization. This narrative transforms a devastating cataclysm into an almost divine mechanism for the planetary dissemination of spiritual knowledge, a diaspora of light. Others, it is told, after the great wars and facing the imminence of earthly changes, retreated beneath the Earth's surface to intraterrestrial realms, where, it is said, many remain to this day, guarding the ancient wisdom and awaiting the opportune moment to reveal themselves. The legends of sacred places like Mount Shasta speak of Lemurians who built magnificent subterranean cities like the mythical Telos, from where they continue to radiate their light and subtly guide the evolution of humanity on the surface. This idea fuels the hope in the hidden masters, beings of great wisdom and compassion, who watch over us from dimensions or places beyond our ordinary perception. There are accounts of Lemurians who, before the final sinking,
stored their vast knowledge in gigantic master crystals, programming them to release their wisdom when humanity was once again ready to receive it. Some of these crystals were taken to new lands, like North America, where they patiently await the moment of their awakening. And it is even narrated that some groups of Lemurians, using their advanced technology of light ships or flying saucers, escaped the cataclysms by orbiting the Earth while the waters covered their home, later landing on newly emerged or stabilized continents, with the area of the sacred lake Titicaca in the Andes often mentioned as one of these new beginnings.
Thus, soul traveler, the legacy of Lemuria is profound, multifaceted, and, surprisingly, alive in our present. It is not just a story of a lost past, but an active presence that resonates in the hearts of those who know how to listen. Look with new eyes at the majestic totems of the Pacific Northwest. Contemplate the exquisite harmony of certain ancient Chinese architecture. Feel the unfathomable enigma of the colossal statues of Easter Island. Delve into the perennial philosophies that speak of unity, love, and transcendence. In all of them, some see a kinship, a subtle echo, an undeniable connection with the wisdom and spirit of Lemuria. Its primordial wisdom, about balance in all things, about harmony with nature and connection with the cosmos, remains profoundly relevant to us today, as we earnestly seek to heal our world and our own souls. Its mystical principles, it is said, influenced the roots of the world's major religions, like a subterranean river that feeds many wells, though its origin has been forgotten. And perhaps most importantly, the Lemurian teachings and experiences are imprinted like an indelible mark on the Akashic record, that vast etheric library of the universe, accessible today to those who seek with an open heart and a willing mind. The story of the fall of Lemuria and the subsequent and now awaited awakening to its wisdom embodies a cyclical pattern of rise, apparent loss, and potential rebirth, a pattern that is common in many cosmologies and offers us immense and much-needed hope. Because Lemuria, for the authentic seeker, is much more than an ancient myth or a fascinating legend. It offers a powerful and attractive alternative to the purely materialistic worldviews that so often leave us feeling empty and disconnected. It speaks directly to that deep longing that many of us feel within for a more harmonious, more connected, more spiritually significant existence. It provides us with a vital sense of connection to an ancient, vast past filled with a wisdom that resonates with our innermost truth, reminding us that we are not mere accidents of evolution, but heirs to a glorious stellar legacy. The idea, transmitted by some currents of spiritual thought, that humanity is not simply destined to return to a Lemurian past, but to surpass it, offers us an incredibly empowering and dynamic evolutionary perspective. It is not about idealizing a lost and unattainable past, but about recognizing that Lemuria was a precious seed, a fundamental first classroom, and that now, armed with that memory and that inspiration, we are called to blossom into something even greater, integrating that ancestral wisdom with the experiences, learnings, and understandings of our own time. The characteristics attributed to Lemuria, lasting peace, ecological harmony, a primary spiritual focus, a strong sense of community and cooperation, technology always at the service of life, often contrast sharply with the challenges and crises we perceive in our modern world. In this way, the image of Lemuria functions as a mirror, reflecting not only our current anxieties, yes, but also, and this is crucial, our deepest and most heartfelt aspirations, our most luminous dreams of a better world. And perhaps the most intimate and transformative part of this living legacy is the emphasis on the Akashic records and the idea that each of us may have past lives or direct significant soul connections with Lemuria. This profoundly personalizes the Lemurian myth. It transforms from a distant and abstract collective story into an individual, unique and sacred journey of remembrance, healing, and awakening. If something in the deepest part of your being has vibrated with a special resonance while contemplating these ideas, if you feel a familiar echo in the forgotten corners of your heart, you should know that it is no accident. You are part of, in one way or another, this great and glorious awakening. And so, we arrive at the threshold where the past whispers to the present, where the memory of Lemuria becomes a compass for the future. This civilization, whether a physical reality buried beneath the waves, a potent archetype woven into the loom of collective consciousness, or a sublime spiritual metaphor that illuminates our path, remains an enduring enigma that invites us to inner exploration, to courageous introspection, and to reverent wonder. Its history, or rather its essence, reflects humanity's continuous and tireless search to understand its deepest origins, its highest purpose, and its limitless creative and spiritual potential. It reminds us, with a voice that resonates beyond words, that harmony is not an unattainable fantasy, but our natural state of being. That connection with all life is our true heritage, and that the deepest wisdom resides not in some distant external place, but in the silent sanctuary of our own heart, patiently waiting to be rediscovered and lived. The question that now floats in the air, vibrant and clear in the silence of your own soul, is this: will we choose this time, at this crucial moment in planetary history, to consciously live the wisdom that we have always carried latent within us? Will we choose, with courage and joy, to remember and embody the sublime song of unity, love, and harmony that Lemuria once sang to the world, and that still today whispers in our deepest dreams and in the noblest longings of our spirit? Thank you, from the bottom of my heart, for joining me on this journey through the veils of time and mystery, for opening your mind and your spirit to the persistent echoes of this ancestral motherland. If you have felt connected in any way with this message, if a spark of recognition or hope has ignited within you, consider this not as an end, but as an invitation. An invitation to continue exploring these topics on your own, to keep questioning, to keep remembering, to keep growing. If this journey has resonated with you and you wish to delve deeper into these explorations of ancient wisdom and the awakening of consciousness, I invite you to subscribe to this channel and join our growing community of seekers. Together, we can continue to unveil the mysteries that connect us to our luminous past and our potential future. Never forget, the sacred past of Lemuria is not left behind, lost and irretrievable. It is alive, vibrant, and present within each of us, like a starseed of infinite potential, like a genetic code of light calling us softly, insistently, lovingly home. To the home of our true divine essence, to the joyful remembrance of who we truly are in the vastness of being. The echoes of ancient Lemuria are not silenced by time, nor drowned beneath the ocean. They resonate, clear and melodious, within you, right now, as a silent but irresistible cosmic song, a sacred melody that tenderly calls you to remember the inextinguishable light that you are in your essence, and the world of peace, love, joy and harmony that together, united in purpose and heart, we can and are destined to help co-create here and now on this blessed planet Earth. The sacred journey toward that remembered future, toward that new Lemuria of the heart that is already being born and flourishing in thousands of souls around the world, begins in this very instant, with your next conscious breath, with your next loving thought, with your next choice aligned with your highest truth. It begins simply but powerfully within you. May the unfathomable peace that surpasses all understanding, may the profound wisdom that guides your every step, and may the unconditional love that embraces all and heals all of the eternal ages illuminate and abundantly bless your path now and forever. May it be so.
If you like this content, hit the like button, share it with someone who might be interested in this topic, and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the next videos.